how can we use our imaginations a bit more sort of purposefully to create, in a sense, what we want in the world, to make our spaces, places, experiences more of what we'd want them to be, rather than what they just seem to be destined to be.
So I've always lived in Camden all my life. I think my journey is a testimony as to why sometimes a place can be so powerful and why the memories that you have in a space can be so influential in a person's life. So yeah, I was a child in need, and I was known to social services and the youth offending service. But I worked on a project, actually also speaking about the power of place in Euston, looking at the redevelopment in Euston and as a resident of the local area, how the changes have affected the people that live in that space. So I went on that project and I decided I want to be a social worker. So I'm now 3 months away from graduating as a social worker.
This is for us as social workers and geographers and people who are trying to do things. So I just want to put that out there, because the imagination is what's going to save us. But it's about the relational as well. It's about how do we create place for people in relationships.
Places are dynamic, objects. People pass in and out of places, So there's power in place, isn't there? There's the power to exclude. There's the power to include. There's the power to other. So it's really, really important and significant.
My name's Martin. My word is work. To love is to act is a work of this place. And I want, and I hope we all want to make work for people and the place and not against it. That public spaces are crucial for building caring communities, which is what you both be saying, because they should be egalitarian and accessible to all, and can foster us here today interconnections and the emergence of communal life. I've completed a number of family group conferences, and during that process I've become increasingly interested in this power of place, where we actually situate the family group conference in urban neighbourhoods, for example. And it seems to me that by thinking about the places in our neighbourhoods, we can construct assessments as a holistic intervention that is more meaningful to people. So much memory is rooted in places. Places can nurture private and public memories. So much memory is rooted in places. Neighbourhoods contain the histories, as Shabnam said, of activists who have campaigned against injustices. And that might be a street, a square, a building, a shop or underground station. Every year I go with my blind client John to the memorial to those who lost their lives in the underground fire at King's Cross. It is an important place for John, who survived that fire many years ago by refusing to go up a smoke-filled escalator. Memory is rooted in places in our neighbourhoods, and identity is tied to memory. So listening carefully to anybody we work with about their memories of place, and then scoping, co-producing and negotiating when and how to meet pays dividends in my view. I've thought about the importance of discussing, choosing, investigating and negotiating a place. Recently, for Mahila sitting over there, we held a family group conference in a hotel by the Regent's Canal that was very meaningful to Mahila, and we've held another one at a West End theatre that was very meaningful to our client Lynn Dewey. So this is about what matters. Place is associated with identity. Place is about respecting personal memories, where we have come from and where we might go with people, while taking account of where they have dwelt.
Just following and listening to a group of young women and young boys and their experience of living on in those neighbourhoods, and the experience of the precarious nature of place. No space to be, constant policing, but the beautiful creation that they make through music and art and poetry, how they make their world. So they make their world real, they bring it to being. And that's through what you pick up in that story, this great mind, but also the body and the spirit. So this is what these young people can teach us sitting here. It's about the body, spirit and the mind, creating that capacity for that relational connection and that making a place and space.
I started working many years ago in housing at Westminster Council. And I was pretty taken aback by all the signs that said no ball games. You know, and thinking about that now, you still see them, you know, those signs. I was thinking, what if we took out all those signs that said no ball games and just replaced them with signs that said, are you coming out to play? And